Now we turn our attention to the next generation spectrum draft policy that has recently been published by the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies. That draft is open for public comment currently, and it includes the potential Wi-Fi permits and licensing. It also says that industry regulator Icasa must evaluate measures and options to enhance the effectiveness of Wi-Fi. This also includes considering allocating additional radio frequency spectrum to support new Wi-Fi technologies. Founder and CEO at Accelerit Technologies, Mandla Ngcobo, joins us in studio to explore this particular draft. Thank you so much for your time, Mandla. I think let's first start with what exactly does this mean? How much of a wide space has been open when it comes to licensing or permitting of Wi-Fi?
Right, so thank you for having me. In short, what has happened is the amount of Wi-Fi spectrum that we've had all along, it will be more than doubled by opening up what is called Wi-Fi 6E, so Wi-Fi 6 extended. So in gig speak, it will be about 1.2 gigahertz of Wi-Fi, so highway, being made available to new entrants.
That must be welcomed. Are there any reservations, and what really is the reaction of the market currently as it is open for public comment?
So from a reaction perspective, it is mixed in the sense that because of the licensing initiative towards it that is not clearly understood at the moment. There's obviously, remember that Wi-Fi has traditionally been unlicensed. So essentially, any participant could deploy a network without needing to have a license. Now, depending on what the intended use for that network would be, then you may need to, at a later stage, acquire a license if you're going to resell services. But if you just wanted to have Wi-Fi for internal usage, you did not need to have a license. Now, with how it's going to be done with Wi-Fi 6 extended, because it's quite a broad spectrum of highway being made available. And some of it has already been occupied by things like VSAT services, so satellite services for their uplinks. They're already using part of what will be made available. So what it means is, from a licensing regime perspective, part of it will be to protect the guys that are already using the spectrum and are already paying for it, but at the same time making it available to the new entrants such that they may use it without necessarily having to pay for it, but appreciating the fact that it will not be protected.
And I think that's where it becomes exciting, the opening up of a space for new entrants to come in. How much of that has been welcomed and well received in that there's going to be a little bit of greater participation?
So I would say predominantly, that it's 90%. If you look at the sentiment, 90% people are generally happy. So all the WISPs, so the wireless internet service providers, are quite happy, because what it means essentially is we're not going to be going back to the old Wi-Fi spectrum and making that licensable in a sense, but it's just the Wi-Fi 6E. So essentially, you will be getting something additional for free. And if you want it to be protected, you may have to pay a license for that. So the sentiment is that of happiness, but there is skepticism, obviously, when it comes to anything that the government does, in this day and age. Is people just want to wait a little bit and see how that'll be carried out from a licensing perspective. Because remember, if you're going to have the guys who haven't been paying for this thing all along suddenly competing with the likes of the MNOs, so the Vodacoms,
the big giants.
Big giants, and they've got big and deep pockets, then it becomes a bit contentious.
And I think that's where I want us to also expand. There's a trust deficit where the state is concerned, and I'm interested in finding out how much of the sector feels that this is long overdue. I mean, when we speak of spectrum that is even going to accommodate the radio space and frequency when it comes to broadcasting, that's a matter that has been in the pipeline for so long. So this particular draft is at public comment stage. So how long do you think we'll be waiting for adaptation?
So if you look at what has been happening internationally, so some of the countries have already rolled this out, right? So it's been a few years in the making. It's been coming. So and in fact, some of the equipment is already available that supports what is known as Wi-Fi 6E. So from that perspective, I think from an adoption perspective, I think we are there. We're just waiting for the adoption of the draft policy. And obviously just a deeper or a clearer understanding of how it will be licensed. Now, from an SMME perspective, if you read the policy, And some of the key points there, which are very exciting to the industry, is that the intent is to ensure SMME adoption. So number one. Number two, ensuring that the previously disadvantaged or communities that haven't had or enjoyed coverage will now be at the front of the consideration when this thing is rolled out. So those two key points will make the industry very excited from the perspective that suddenly you're going to have the wireless internet service providers being able to compete at the level that Vodacom and MTN are rolling out their networks currently.
A positive development. Thank you so much for your time. That is Mandla Ngcobo, a tech entrepreneur, speaking to us about these developments with the next generation policy that has been tabled as a draft. It's open for public comment and it's all tech, but positive developments.